George Washington Carver's life began in uncertainty, shaped by the cruel hand of history. Born into slavery during the Civil War on a small farm in Diamond, Missouri, he arrived in a world where his very existence was seen as property. His exact birth date remains unknown, lost to time like so many stories of the enslaved. Him, his brother, and his mother lived under the ownership of Moses Carver, a German-American farmer who, like many in the South, relied on enslaved labor. But even in those early years, Carver's life took a tragic turn. Raiders swept through the land, kidnapping his mother, and though the Carvers searched for her, she was never found again. The war ended, and slavery was abolished, but young George and his brother James remained with the Carvers, now as free boys in a world that still did not recognize them as equals. Even as a child, George showed an insatiable curiosity. He was drawn to plants, to the way things grew and thrived in the soil, and he found solace in the quiet world of nature. Education, however, was a luxury denied to most black children in the South. The nearest school for black students was miles away, but that did not stop him. He walked 10 miles each day just to learn, driven by something no one could take away from him: his hunger for knowledge. His journey for education was not smooth. Time and again, doors were shut in his face simply because of his race. He applied to Highland University in Kansas, was accepted, and then rejected as soon as they realized he was black. Undeterred, he found his way to Simpson College in Iowa, where he initially studied art. But his love for plants never left him, and at the urging of a professor he transferred to Iowa State Agricultural College. There he became the first black student to enroll, and later, the first black faculty member. His research in botany and agriculture caught the attention of his professors, who saw in him a mind unlike any other. At the turn of the century, the American South was suffering. The overplanting of cotton had stripped the soil of its nutrients, leaving farmers desperate and their land barren. Carver saw a solution in crop rotation, planting peanuts, sweet potatoes, and other nitrogen-fixing crops that could restore the soil. His work was revolutionary. He did not just develop theories, he turned them into practical solutions for struggling farmers, many of whom were black and poor. He joined Tuskegee Institute, a historically black university in Alabama, and dedicated his life to teaching and researching ways to improve agricultural sustainability. His work with peanuts became legendary. He discovered over 300 uses for peanuts, creating everything from peanut oil and dyes to plastics and even fuel. His innovations extended beyond peanuts. He developed over 100 uses for sweet potatoes, transforming them into flour, rubber, and even glue. Yet Carver was not driven by profit. He refused to patent many of his discoveries, believing that knowledge should be shared freely for the benefit of all. His genius did not go unnoticed. In 1921 he was called before Congress to testify about peanuts and their importance to American agriculture. His testimony captivated lawmakers, and he became a national figure overnight. Presidents sought his advice. Theodore Roosevelt reached out to him for agricultural guidance. Industrial giants like Henry Ford invited him to research plant-based materials, and Thomas Edison offered him a 6-figure salary to work in his laboratories. Carver declined the offer, choosing instead to remain at Tuskegee, teaching and uplifting black farmers who needed him the most. Despite his fame, Carver remained humble. He lived modestly, never seeking wealth, and believed his knowledge was a gift to be shared. His work laid the foundation for modern agricultural science, and his vision of sustainable farming still echoes today. On January 5, 1943, he passed away, leaving behind a legacy far greater than himself. That same year, the United States honored him by establishing the George Washington Carver National Monument in Missouri, the first national monument dedicated to an African American. His story is not just one of scientific achievement, it is a story of resilience, of overcoming unimaginable barriers, of a mind that saw possibilities where others saw limitations. Carver was more than a scientist. He was a teacher, an innovator, and a man who believed in using knowledge to heal both the land and the people who worked it.